There we go. Good morning, everyone. This is Lori Delk-Radecki with the Nashville Networking Business Luncheon. So we do these several times a month, all over Middle Tennessee in person, and then live on Zoom right here every single Tuesday. So if you don't have our schedule, go see our schedule at the website, NashvilleNetworkingBusinessLuncheon.com. You can also follow us on social media with that page, as well as we have a group on Facebook and LinkedIn. So make sure to join those and get connected and network with other people. We always have a 10-minute speaker who talks to us about different tips, tricks, ideas, things that can help us both in our personal as well as our business life, help get us to that next level. And after that, we go around the room and share our virtual business cards here while we are on Zoom, and everybody gives their 1-minute spiel of how we can refer other people to them. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Please give your attention to our speaker, Mr. Blaine Little. Welcome to the call.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. I'm going to go ahead and record myself as well, I think. And so good morning. Glad to be here. I'm going to take about 10 minutes to talk about a very key element of sales. How you open a sale is very important, and of course, everything in the middle, but all of that preparation is for naught if you can't actually close the sale. And I've been in training. I've taught sales for almost 20 years. And at one time, I had about a dozen agents under me at a RE/MAX office in Murfreesboro. And a lot of times they had problems overcoming objections. So that's specifically what I'm going to do is talk about, and I could talk for hours about overcoming objections and closing the sale. But that's going to be my emphasis here for the next 10 minutes or so. I noticed that a lot of people in sales, they go through a wonderful presentation, but their key is to educate the client or the customer, when really the key should not be to educate, it should be to uncover what is most important to them. We can talk about ourselves, we can talk about our existing client base, we can talk about our customers, we can talk about the wonderful product or service that we have. But if we don't uncover that need that they had that's specific for them, it's like Charlie Brown's mom. It's just a trumpet. Wah, 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 wah. So we need to do that. And a lot of times people in sales are skittish about handling objections because they think that rejections are negativities, that it's a rejection. An objection is not necessarily a rejection. It's simply saying, tell me more. I want to know more. Give me more information. And if we're listening really well to what they're saying and how they're saying it, we may be able to uncover that real challenge that they have within their business or within their lives that we can help them with. All right. So I have a PDF for everybody on the live Zoom right now. And if those are just some notes for you if you want to follow along. But the first thing here is why there is objections is they simply feel obligated to object. Sometimes people, they love what you have to say. They love the service already or the program, and they just feel obligated to sort of object. That's good because what they're doing is they want reassurance that what they're thinking, that your product is a good one, is correct. So many times I have, especially my early years in sales, I would go out on a presentation and the client and we were just clicking. Everything was good. Hardly any objections at all. And like, man, great. I'm glad I was able to help you out. Then a day or two, I get a phone call and they talk to me, and it's what we call buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse, because they weren't fully convinced, even though we as a professional in that industry knew this is exactly what they needed, they weren't necessarily convinced themselves. So understand that an objection is not necessarily a rejection. The prospect may have had may just be a bad decision maker. The prospect that you're talking to might not be the decision maker. In real estate, when I work with especially young couples, I will ask them, if we found the perfect home for you here today, what would you do? That's a key question to ask. If we found the perfect home for you here today, what would we do? Well, we'd have to stew on it for a couple of months. We'd have to go out and get qualified for a loan. We'd have to ask mom and dad. That's an objection. I think it's a pretty good objection, especially for young people just starting out. They want the advice of their parents. That's great. But I uncover that objection on the front end, and I say, fantastic, we're going to go take a look at homes 9 a.m. Saturday. Make sure your parents are here, because they're going to go with us and they're going to understand the process that we went through. Price. It could be a matter of price, but is it really? Is it really? Many times we want to cut our commission or cut our fees or maybe lower the price when perhaps that's not really the issue at all. If you got your foot in the door and they understand what product or service they're going to be buying in the first place, they probably have an idea of what the worth is in most cases. So is it really price, or is that just kind of an objection because we haven't explained the quality and the benefit to them? Again, it's uncovering a challenge. And if we hear some objections, then that gets us closer to uncovering the challenge so we can provide a solution, all the better. Isolate the objection. So hugely important. And I just gave an example of one thing, if we found the perfect home for you here today, what would you do? And we can isolate that objection by saying, okay, so your parents need to be involved. Fantastic. Is there anything else? So important to find out what the true objection is. Well, I have an issue with the delivery date. So it's going to take me 30 days to get this machine part or this entire machine. Okay. If we could remedy that issue, if we could overcome that challenge of the delivery date of 30 days, do you see any reason why we wouldn't move forward today? Isolate that objection, isolate that objection, isolate that objection. Because sometimes if people are not a very good decision maker or they're just not certain of the quality that you bring, then they may object when they really feel confident about moving forward with you. They're just a little scared about their own decision-making skills. So isolate what that objection is. And if they say, no, I also have an objection of price. Okay, fantastic. So we've nailed it down. So delivery and price. If I can help you with those two things, do you see any reason why we wouldn't move forward today? Well, no. I also have a problem with quality. Fantastic. Price, delivery, quality. If we could go over those three things, do you see any reason why we would move today? Well, there's something else. They're never going to say yes. They're never going to make a decision. Many times, if they already understand what the process is, the program, the service, the product is roughly, they may have one or two objections. They're not going to have 4 or 5 legitimate objections. Many times, objections are simply a stall. So if you isolate what they are, then you'll be able to uncover the true challenge and help them find a solution and give them the benefit that they're looking for. There's several ways of overcoming an objection. One is called the 3F. And if you've been in sales for 5 days, you've probably heard of this. It's the feel, felt, found. Feel, felt, found. Well, I realize how you feel. I felt the same way, but what I found was, so you have an issue with the delivery date. Well, I realize how you feel. I had some clients who once felt the same way, and it did take close to 30 days. But what they found was that in the meantime, while we're waiting on that big machine to be delivered, I could actually go ahead and start doing some of the knowledge, start training some of your people, getting them prepared for the installation of that machine. So that's just what's called the 3F method: feel, felt, found. It works on people who are, and I'm not going to get too deep here, but in some of my other workshops, I go into what's called neurolinguistics programming. It goes into what's called kinesthetic education style. So people think in terms of feelings. If they're visual or audio, that may not necessarily work that well, but you can kind of slightly tweak that. But it's all understanding what their challenges are, how you can isolate that objection and help them overcome it. But it takes a lot of listening to see what type of person that they are, and are they truly the decision maker. So like I say, I've got sales seminars that last the better part of the day or just an hour or two. And this is just a little snippet on how to overcome objections. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact me at momentumseminars.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So if you are watching here live on social media or on our website, you can see all the recordings at NashvilleNetworkingBusinessLuncheon.com. Also, make sure to join our groups on Facebook and LinkedIn at Nashville Networking Business Luncheon. We go off live now, and the rest is not recorded. So you have to join us to participate. Talk to you soon. Thank you.